Mixed martial arts, better known as MMA, has exploded in popularity, and at the forefront of that popularity is the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The main games for MMA fans are the ones crafted by EA. The problem with these games is that they are extremely flawed. I know, shocking for an EA game, they are historically of such high quality, especially their sports titles. Now, I won't be discussing the problems with the gameplay. What I want to do here is show just one mode, the career mode, and examine most of the ways that it fails to achieve even close to what it could be. Because there is literally no area I do not think is flawed. I will discuss most of the problems it has, not just what's missing, but the problems with what is here. But before getting into all that, let's start at the beginning. You start your career by selecting some important things such as weight class, physical appearance, fighting style, Twitter handle, all the essentials, get the shit kicked out of you, do some tutorials while fighting the amateur ranks. After that, the true journey begins. Every single fight you complete from here on out will follow the same steps. First, you agree to a fight offer and pick a training camp length. Longer camps allow for more training, but cost a larger percentage of your fight purse. For however long you pick your training camp, you'll have 100 time steps per week. You can pick a training type with a specific challenge and area of improvement. Each time you complete a training challenge, the amount of time needed for that one increases by 5. Your goal for the training camp is to improve yourself and get yourself to peak condition. Training helps with progressing your moves, which are your actual attacks. Leveling these up gives you skill points to assign to things such as punch speed, submission skills, chin strength, etc. Skills will be affected by getting hurt, whether that be in a fight or in training. Completing training challenges also gives skill points. One issue with the training sessions is that you can't pick what move bonus the training offers. Another is that the training sessions are only 2 minutes long, which is long enough for sex but not for a good training session. Especially for something like jiu-jitsu. I need more time rolling around with sweaty men. I will not elaborate further. Improving skills takes a lot of time using them, and the best way to improve striking skills is to hurt your opponent. So knocking your training partners the fuck out is the best way to get better. They'll get injured, but you won't care. This right here is how you win belts. There are other things that'll take time every week, such as generating hype, whether it be mandatory or for a sponsorship, along with researching your opponent, which is the most useless shit ever. I'll get into it later, but look at what you learn from researching your opponent. Basic information on their skills and style, with the only even slightly useful information being their tendencies. Take a look at everything you learned. You don't even know what fucking stance to use. Fucking stupid. Speaking of things that are stupid, how limited your interactions with other fighters are. Most of the time, you don't dictate when the interactions occur. They might just randomly message you, allowing you to respond positively or negatively. The most reliable way to start an interaction is to turn down a fight with them. Otherwise, it seems random. Also, once you are champion, it feels as though interactions go down to nearly 0, when in reality, everyone should be talking to you. You are the top dog in the division at that point. Everyone should be trying their hardest to set up a fight with you. And I get that early on, you don't really have a say in who you fight next, but at this point, you really should. Being a champion should fundamentally feel different from being a contender. And after that bare bones look at the career, I'll start a small description of some of the issues I find with every aspect of the career mode. Yes, every aspect. Starting from you creating your fighter. I have a few main criticisms. One is with the styles and perks. Just allow me to go on a mini rant here. Boxing is a sport, not just a fighting style. If you know anything at all about boxing, you'll know at least a few fighters that have completely different styles from each other, such as Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. What makes the hypothetical matchup between them interesting is their contrasting styles. Just assigning a perk, skills, and stats to your character without any input just shows a lack of knowledge when it comes to combat sports. And it's not just boxing. All styles here are way more varied than the devs are showing. By just assigning you skills and moves, they don't allow you from the start of your career to pick how you, specifically will be fighting. Just a sample of how little you are allowed to influence your career. You will earn some points during the amateur section of your career that you can use, but in reality, you should have just been able to set everything. One idea is have your amateur fights be used to determine your first perk or give you the choice of a couple different ones. Regardless, perks aren't the most noticeable inclusion. What is a bit more noticeable are the height caps on weight classes. These make no fucking sense at all. How the fuck is the height limit at middleweight 6'3" when the current champion Israel Adesanya is 6'4"? What the fuck? What sense does it make to have the limit be smaller than fighters that are currently in the UFC and in this fucking game? Before moving on, I just have to mention how males have like 20 body types and females have 4. Those issues are there before you even start your career properly. During your amateur fights, I think the current implementation is alright with those being used to learn, but hear me out. What if they were more than that? Maybe you could have a couple of options, with the striking classes being able to be amateur kickboxers before transitioning into MMA. I mean, they do have the perfect arena for it. Just a thought. What I find to be the most unacceptable aspect is the super limited training sessions. The only training offered is one of 4 technique sparring sessions and some heavy bag drills. These sparring sessions have so many problems where to start. For one, like I said earlier, they are too short. This leads to me going absolutely ham in the striking sessions, trying to land as much as humanly possible because I need to level up my moves. This isn't how you should fight in a real match because you would gas out almost instantly. But that pales in comparison to the biggest issue I have with these sparring sessions, which is they don't teach you. It literally is just sparring, and you can learn a lot from sparring, but not as much as training for specific scenarios or styles of fighting. Take a look at a similar title, Fight Night Champion. In this game, they have training for certain skills, so you better know how to fight. It's almost like they are attempting to train you. There are specific training scenarios to help you learn how best to knock down your opponent when they are hurt, how to keep yourself safe when you are hurt, fighting from different ranges, along with footwork and head movement. UFC 4 has none of this. No real teaching, no real preparation, just sparring and trying to kill your training partner because you need the XP. The challenges barely teach anything, and in some cases teach literally nothing. Just throw strikes at your opponent. What is learned, what is gained, or throw sprinting hooks. Nigga, what fucker in a professional fight is going to do a full run up into a punch outside of a fucking moron? Why the fuck am I wasting my time doing this? Sparring is only useful for the XP and to get in shape. Since I already brought up Fight Night, I should mention another thing it does better, which is having your attributes vary from fight to fight. All of your skills in UFC 4 are nearly permanent outside of injury, and your moves are permanent, which means once you have leveled up enough, you don't really have to care about training anymore. But in Fight Night, every single fight you have to train, and train to your highest level, or else you will notice it in the fight. You won't feel as fast or as strong or as well conditioned if you have a terrible training camp. There is nothing at all like this in UFC 4. A good training camp versus a bad one results in the same thing as long as I am in peak condition, which why wouldn't I be? It's not that hard to do. Small thing, why couldn't the game have the striking sessions in training be similar to the stand and bang mode? Another disappointment is how little information is learned about your opponent and how little that seems to impact your training. What's extra shit is that if you lose, they will say some dumb shit like learn about your next opponent, like that helps at all. What they should do is have a grid for striking and grappling, and the more you study your opponent, the more info you gain. These can show off their tendencies for different strikes, what type of grappling they favor, things of that nature, so you can better prepare for how they fight. And if you previously fought against them, it should show your fight on this graph as well. The more you learn, the more your training partners should mimic their style. Doing this will at least incentivize learning about your opponent. As it is now, I just do it to pass time. Yet another disappointment is how the game deals with your interactions with other fighters. You should be able to call out fighters to get fights you want and have the opportunity to discuss with your coach or manager potential fights. The benefit of making a rival is that you get a lot of people invested, but the reverse does nearly nothing for you. You can be nice and have people interested in a potential fight, but that's only if they're in the same weight class as you. If making the fighter hate you gains you a rival, why not have the reverse gain you a large benefit, such as a new training partner? The only reason to improve your relationship with the fighter is to have them teach you new moves at a reduced cost. Which leads us to money. Money is so useless and unrealistic. Money is used for recovering from injuries sustained in training, or to invite fighters to teach you new moves, which is a one-off thing. There's nothing else it's used on, so apparently UFC fighters don't have to pay for rent, weed, food, video games, gas, hookers, insurance, electricity, car payment, etc. Money is such a small part of your career after only a few fights. There are too many moves to learn, if anything, and most of them I forget I have. I know sports games have rightfully gathered a negative relationship with gamers, but I feel like with an individual sport such as mixed martial arts, there is untapped potential for a game to actually simulate not only the sport from a gameplay side, but also from a career side. And what I hope will happen is that understanding the ins and outs of a fighter's life and just experiencing a small amount of what they need to do might give fans a greater appreciation and understanding. If you don't care about all that like some sort of asshole, improving the career mode will at least mean for a more engaging gameplay experience with actual decisions that impact the story of your character. Improving the training will lead to a better understanding of the gameplay. They can use the training sessions to help you build up your skills as a fighter and learn different ways how to fight. I could say so much more about the career mode and how severely it is lacking. You have so few interactions with your coach because there are only cutscenes for big moments. These posters for your title fights are trash, and I thought some real life ones looked like ass. Just as a fan of the sport, I want better from these games, especially since they shelved the Fight Night games for these. Man, I miss those THQ UFC games. I sincerely hope the next one is better, because legit, I barely scratched the surface of all the issues just this one mode has, because this video could have been 4 times as long. Just imagine if I talk more about the actual gameplay mechanics, how long that video would have been. But I won't do that. Instead, I will stop here. I know this isn't the usual type of game I cover, but I still wanted to talk about it because it's something I am passionate about. Hopefully you still enjoyed this video. I'll be back with something more in line with my other videos soon enough, I hope. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please share it with anyone with an internet connection, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Dana White is a bitch.